Well, it's finally a beautiful day here in Mississippi. We've braved the cold for the last month. We've had a few warm days, but today's the actual first day that's in the 70s. It's great. So I want to take the time here to give you an update, part 2, on the crack that we had from last year. And I feel like this is a good spot to do this because this is exactly where I found the crack originally. It was parked right here last year in Mississippi. We came across I-20, and if anybody's familiar with I-20, they know it's a rough patch of road. And this year when we came across it, I noticed that they fixed the bridge and where I think we broke the trailer on, or cracked the fiberglass on. I mean, literally this thing had dipped in front of the bridge, and like I pretty much went airborne. If you haven't seen my Brinkley crack part 1, I'll link it in the video and put it in the description below so you can watch it, and I talk more in depth about the process, at least how it worked out for us. We had ours fixed in Idaho by Blue Compass. They were a great group of people. Highly recommend them. Okay, so here we are, the infamous bedroom wall crack. I have not seen any other cracks form yet, and I've been keeping an eye on it because everybody seems to be like a thing, you know. Like I said, these guys were great. I feel like they did a really good job. You know, after getting it fixed, we went from Idaho down to Montana over to Yellowstone and back, and then we went all the way to Maine, all the way down to Myrtle Beach, and now we're back into Mississippi. So got about 10,000 miles on the trailer, and this is what it looks like. So this is where the crack was last year. Literally came right off here. As you can see, there's no crack there. So everything looks like it did when I picked it up the first time. They even fixed this piece right here that fell off. I think like a lot of people had that happen. But yeah, overall, you know, they had to take the whole front cap off, put that back on. So everything looks good. I have no complaints. I know some people, when they originally had the crack fixed, like when they were some of the first ones that had to have it done, they ended up having to go back for a second time. And I was worried about that, but I think, and I'm pretty sure I'm in the clear now, that we were done a little bit later on when they figured out that the first way that they were fixing it, which was, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they just fixed the crack, right? They probably just filled in the fiberglass crack, you know, and put a new decal over it and, you know, called it good. But then when it came back again, it was like, okay, we need to pull the whole wall off and fix it. So that's what they did. I mean, I guesstimated the, if I had to pay for that out of pocket, I bet you that would have been a $15,000 job. I mean, they pull this whole side off. I had pictures of it completely off, pull the slide out, pull the cap off. It's a pretty big project. I just want to take the 5 minutes here to tell you that. And we've had nothing but good things to say about Brinkley so far. You know, we've had our issues in our first year. I feel like we had a few more. I mean, the crack being obviously the biggest, and the, you know, that really is upsetting. I mean, it is what it is. But I feel like we've had a lot of nuisance issues, more so than our last trailer, just odds and ends stuff that I don't know how it got missed. But anyway, you know, the Blue Compass, they fixed a lot of those little minor things, and so far we're running it. This year we're going to take it off grid a lot. So I think really it's going to be almost a durability test to see, you know, is it worth, you know, that extra that you pay, which, you know, it's all to each their own. I do think they have a good product, and I do like the customer service. Even after being, now I'm outside of my warranty, if I call, they're great to deal with. They'll help you any way they can. So, you know, if you need something fixed, of course you're going to have to pay for it now, but at least they'll help you and get you on the right path. So I really think they're building something good here. So I just wanted to give my input on it. Obviously, do your research and your due diligence. Join the Facebook groups that are online, Brinkley, RV Nation, and some of the other ones. If you're thinking about buying one of these, I mean, now it's getting a little ridiculous because there's so many people in them, but you know, go in there and just search for stuff, and, you know, people post their problems. You know, nobody posts the happy things, only once in a while, but, you know, if you have, you know, 3 posts a day of people that are having issues, it's like, well, there's 10,000 of these things out on the road now. So, like I said, I think they do pretty good, but the parts are all, you know, they're all the same parts, right? They're just assemblers. They get the parts from Lippert, and they do a little bit different stuff. Like the frame is different from the Grand Designs. That was a big seller for me. I did not want to have a frame failure, and not to say that I won't. I mean, they're still a new brand, but that was like the hot thing when we were buying these things, is all the frames were breaking, and, you know, the insurance won't cover it, and the warranty, they don't want to cover it, and it's like, I'm not dealing with that. So I did some research, but like I said, please do your research on whichever model you buy. Go to find Facebook, find YouTube videos on it, and just go from there. I'm telling you, you won't regret it.
All right, so I got gently bullied into doing some cooking videos, and honestly, I think I cook more in the kitchen now in the RV than I did at home. And the size of this kitchen is easily like 1/8 of the kitchen that we had at home. So today we are making cinnamon rolls because at about 10 o'clock last night, I got begged to make them, and we're gonna do a big batch so that we can give some to our friends Scott and Lauren and their family that have just taken us right in while we've been here staying with them. And, you know, family feeds family. It's what we do. Apron is on, hair is going up. It is the real deal. Okay, so we have to activate our yeast, and to do that, we're gonna do some almost hot water. We're gonna do honey, because I substitute honey for sugar in just about every recipe that I do. And then we do dry active yeast. We let that sit for about 10 minutes until it's foamy. I do about a minute for each cup that I'm doing, and I've noticed that if I do my water warm enough that I can stick my pinky in, that I would shower in it, it's nice and warm, then we're just about at the right temperature. If I stick my pinky in and I wouldn't want to shower in it, then it needs to cool off a little bit before I add it to my bowl to activate the yeast. So that's just how I do it, but I know everybody has their own preference, and, you know, do what works for you. Something that we love being on the road is going to Harvest Hosts, and when we go to Harvest Hosts, we always find the cutest little farms to stay at, and oftentimes we're able to buy some of their goodies. So today I get to use honey from one of our most recent Harvest Host stays, and this is my favorite part of RV life, is using farm food from all over the place. A little bit warmer. I'd be a little chilly in that shower. So when you substitute honey for sugar in your recipes, I've learned it's pretty much a 1-to-1. So anytime it says this amount of sugar, just do that amount of honey. Wow, that is some good honey. And we generally measure with your heart. That's a nice warm shower. That didn't work the way I wanted it to. We're just gonna dump her in there then. That is some thick honey. Now we let it sit for 10 minutes until it gets foamy. So this is when I could say, hey Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. Everything's a bit foamy, and the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add half a stick of melted butter, heavy serving of salt. It's really not all that heavy, it's just whatever feels right. And then we're gonna mix some flour into it, and I'm gonna use my KitchenAid because I love this thing, and for years I had it and it just sat on the counter at home, and Ridge always made fun of me. He's like, you have that, it's just a decoration piece. And I was like, you know what, one of these days I'm gonna use it. So now every chance I get, I use my KitchenAid. Let's sneak it right in here. So we're doing 5 to 6 cups of flour for this. Step ahead of myself, and I put the little scooper in there. And I just kind of add it as I go, depending on how it's looking in the bowl of the consistency. Is it still too wet? Is it too dry? Just kind of find that balance. All right, here we go. This is my favorite part. Tipping it down a little bit for you guys. So it's starting to knead really well, and I haven't put all cups of flour in there yet because I can see that it's clumping together really well, and as it keeps going, it's actually going to scrape the sides of the bowl. And at that point, we can check the texture of the dough to see if it needs more flour or if it doesn't. But honestly, it's looking pretty good right now, so I'm just going to keep letting it do its thing. I say that, and now it's starting to look a little wet, so let's add more flour. All right. And there's something about working dough with your hands that's just so satisfying, and it instantly, as soon as I touch it, it's like, I don't know, anybody else? Some people have such a system to kneading their bread. I don't have a system. But what you guys didn't see is earlier, while we were waiting for it to get foamy, I took a glass bowl and I got some butter in it, and at this point I'm just gonna flop it in there, cling wrap, and cover the top of it, because we're gonna let it rise for an hour. And sometimes it fits just right. I can stretch one piece to fit, and then other times I can't. Wow, would you look at that? So I take this and I just put it over on the oven. I do have the oven on. I cheat because today it's super cold out. There's no warm place in the RV. And I use just an old linen rag that I've had forever. And with the heat of the oven coming out, this sits here, it gets nice and warm, but then I also trap the heat a little bit by covering it. So at this point, what we're doing is we're waiting an hour. I set a timer for an hour, but I do kind of peek on it about 5 minutes early to that to see if the dough has doubled in size. If it has, at that point, I just take it out and get going with the next step. Sometimes it needs the full hour, sometimes it needs a little more, depending on how cold it is in the RV. So it's actually been over an hour. We decided to go downtown and go and have a coffee and have a little shopping spree. So it's been a little over an hour. I think an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
This is gonna be some cinnamon rolls, babe. It has not rose this high before, babe. Look at this.
Oh my gosh.
Wow!
Well, we'll find out.
We're gonna find out if that was a mistake or not. Well, we're along for the ride with you because... Okay, so the idea at this point, what I'm just gonna do is take this out of the bowl and then roll it into somewhat of a rectangular shape. We're gonna put some cinnamon, some brown sugar, all measured with your heart, and we're gonna put some room temperature butter on it. That way it all holds pretty well to the bread. And I've lightly floured my area so it's not gonna stick as I roll it out, and I just keep flour off to the side too so I can keep pulling it as I need. And this roller is actually, gosh, it's on its 4th generation now. And I found the trick with this one is actually flouring it before I start rolling things out, because it's it's been loved over the years and it tends to stick really well. Ooh. Ah, that feels good. This is gonna be some big cinnamon rolls. Another inherited mug. So many inherited things we have. This was my dad's. My dad and Rich's grandmother both were Betty Boop fans. So we have a couple of Betty Boop mugs. So I cheated. I just melted it. And now I'm just gonna rub it across. Sprinkling some cinnamon. Brown sugar. One of my favorite spices to use is this honey cinnamon. It's from Camp Mix, and Camp Mix has a whole bunch of different spices. We love Camp Mix, so anytime we can find it at a store, we stock up on it. This is one of our favorites, this honey cinnamon, and the original one, so good. I think I have about 7 stocked in the pantry right now. So I usually stop putting brown sugar and cinnamon on there when I start to think I'm gonna go into a diabetic coma eating it. Then it's usually about enough. Let's roll this up. And if you've put enough flour down on this base here, it will roll quite easy, but there has been a couple of times that I've made this and the dough would still stick here. So as I was rolling, I'd take a little bit of flour and just throw it and work it into the dough to peel it off. And what I'm doing is just pushing the ends. Let's see if I can get you to see that a little bit better. I'm just kind of pushing the ends together so it's flat instead of having it stick out and having an uneven cinnamon roll. And to make sure your cinnamon rolls are roughly the same size, I actually saw this trick online where you measure it with your knife. So I can do this, mark it, this, mark it, this, mark it, and just keep going. So this is roughly what they're gonna look like as you're cutting them. So this was actually a mistake the first time that I made them, is do heavy cream and an egg, and you're supposed to let these rise and then put this mixture on top right before you put them in the oven. But I got a little excited and I actually dumped it and then let it rose an hour, figured out my mistake, but it was like, hey, we're gonna wing it and try it anyway. And I actually think they came out better. So just put a bit of heavy whipping cream and 1 egg, and we're gonna dump it on top. We're gonna cover it with saran wrap, let it rise 1 more hour, and then we just throw it right in the oven. I'm just gonna move them over to the top of the oven, and we're gonna give it another hour, probably in 30 minutes or so. I'll come over and I'll swap this around so it has some even rising time with the heat going directly on it. So I have these rags and they're handmade and I love them. Here, hold on, let me show you. All of these, all of them. And I absolutely adore them. They're perfect in the kitchen, and they were made by a friend of mine, her mom. And within the last year or so, her mom has passed away, and it's really special to be able to use these and think about all the memories that we made over at my friend's house and with her mom, who was very active in her life. And I don't know, it's just the sentimental things about cooking specifically. It's just kind of like a hug from all the people you love. So Jamie, if you're watching this, know I think about your mom every time I cook and clean my kitchen, and I love you and I miss you. Okay, so it has been an hour and look at these bad boys. They have rose so good. They're gonna be so light, they're gonna be so fluffy, and the heavy cream has really seeped right in there, helped them grow, gonna keep them moist. And at this point, I'm probably just gonna put another little dash of cinnamon and my Camp Mix here, just on the top, and then we're gonna throw them in for about 25 minutes. Okay, it's been 25 minutes. I took the cinnamon rolls out, and look at these bad boys. Look at them. Okay, so they're a little deceiving because we put so much heavy whipping cream on them, they still look a little wet. But if you touch the center of them and it springs back, they're good. They're done. Yeah. Okay, so back to icing. So we're gonna do a half a cup of softened butter, and here we are using more family heirlooms. And this is another family heirloom. And this is actually Ridge's favorite bowl. He makes scrambled eggs in this all the time. So he's letting me borrow it for the icing. Okay, so back to icing. Okay, so half a cup of softened butter. And we have 2 cups of powdered sugar. I don't think I could substitute that with honey, so we're just sticking to the powdered sugar. And then we're gonna take about 4 ounces of cream cheese. We didn't have any cream cheese. Scott and Lauren had some cream cheese though, but it's actually strawberry. So you guys are along for the ride for the first time with me using strawberry, but I feel like with Valentine's Day coming up, maybe this is your idea for like Valentine's Day themed cinnamon rolls. I don't know. I'll let you know how it turns out though. Oh yeah.
Oh. I'm gonna be so fat.
And you
That's
made
strawberry?
you made it with strawberry before?
No.
Oh, okay.